Michael Graham is coming through to talk a little bit about a piece that he just wrote this week about basically a tale of two women. I mean, we had last week I talked about a tale of two conventions, and this week we're going to talk about a tale of two women, looking at basically the differences between Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Nina Turner, and the DNC convention and how that all worked out.
All right. Hey, sis, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Glad to be talking to you on the. I guess we're in the big leagues now, huh?
Yes, I know. I'm in the big leagues, and then my computer and my camera is messed up tonight. But that's okay. Don't hold it against us. You know what I'm saying? We are a work in progress, and we appreciate you sticking with us. So let's talk about your piece.
All right. Well, you and I have talked back channel about this a little bit before, but this is something that's been kind of weighing on me, because watching how Nina was treated after she was such an upstanding citizen. I mean, she was everything that we asked people to be, especially black women, right? Black women are always told, you need to be this, 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 and this, and then be twice as good as that, And then here she is doing all that, and she gets cast into the darkness, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's been cheating the system from day one, gets a cushy landing, right? And that just struck me as extremely unfair, And after the DNC leaks, these two women are basically the number two women on the two opposing tickets, right? You realize that after Jane Sanders, the most visible face on Bernie's side was Nina. And on the other side, the one working hardest after Hillary herself was Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Now that we know the truth, I mean, we all knew it, but now that it's out there, and these two women were treated entirely different. And I didn't even have to mention the race thing. The picture was enough, right? You see how these women were treated, and we hear all this talk about how intersectional and how wonderful the Hillary campaign is to the Clintons are in general to black people. But this should be, you should let if you don't toe the line, you're cast aside. Right. I understand playing team ball, but this was really ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I noticed that really caught my attention about that whole week and how she was treated was, earlier on, I think that was Tuesday when she wasn't allowed to speak, but on Monday, I believe it was, she and Lucy Flores and several others had actually participated in like a woman of color, like speak out luncheon. And one of the things that we're talking about, and Nina has continued to hold up people, even though again, if you listen to Nina Turner, if you follow her on Twitter, she doesn't go negative. She doesn't do that stuff, but she also will lift people up despite how, the differences in terms of ideology or whether they're on the same side, like especially during the primary process, she would say like, I have my sisters and there are people who we don't support the same candidate. We're not supportive, but we're sisters and I still support you because I'm about you. And so she gave this speech during this luncheon, some remarks. And, they were talking about how they need to, we need to make sure we're valued and supported as women of color within the party. And she just went on. And she transcends the Bernie Sanders campaign, right?
Absolutely.
Like we look at what happened with Donna Edwards, because when she didn't toe the line in her primary, right? She dared to go against the establishment and run, and they came back and smacked her back. I mean, so it really bothered me when we looked at someone like a Nina Turner being treated the way she was, and then you had Debbie Wasserman Schultz that has done all the things that she has done, the hubris, the arrogance, it's just ridiculousness, and how initially they were still going to let her, gavel in. It just, the stark comparison was just it was dismaying.
Yeah, it was. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to the DNC, and it was just so blatant. That was the problem for me. It was so blatant. It was so in your face. Even though I'm watching all these Hillary devotees, just ignoring that. You know, I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, this is a big tent, and you know, all voices are welcome. But if you don't toe the line, yeah, not all that welcome. And I get it to a degree. That's how power works, right? You are given access based upon how deeply you bow, right? And I get that. I understand that. You know, we watched, you know, we watched a whole lot of people scraping and bowing. You know, I'm not going to get into name calling, but I mean, we watched this happen over and over again, and here's this strong woman, upright, you know, who is, you know, who is doing what she believes is correct, following her heart, and getting on the love train, and she did nothing wrong. I mean, she didn't get into the name calling, she didn't get into the muckraking, she stayed above it all the entire time. And this is how you treat people like that. These are the people you need on your team. These are the people you know you can trust when things get bad. You know, there's only so many snakes you can fit on a plane. You know what I mean? You can need
especially if there's any real concern about bringing us into the fold, right, so to speak. Not saying that we would follow Nina Turner, but being gracious in those moments. And we've talked about this about the DNC overall. Like I talked about it with one of my friends who was the California delegate. We talked about how just the way people acted and behaved, they're like, once the cameras went off, you know, there was a nastiness, there was a cattiness. It was very inhospitable. And we definitely saw that in the way Nina Turner was treated. Like that was obvious. Regardless of whether she supported the candidate or not, we're talking about this is a moment to bring unity together. She is someone that engages and invigorates and brings out the best in everyone. So to deny her opportunity and space, to crush her voice, it was more symbolic, you know, of the way, you know, that machine handles stuff. I mean, we are a tool. You know, they love to tout about how Black people love Hillary Clinton and we all support her. Well, I mean, as long as you toe the line, as long as you're doing what Massa wants you to do, then you're all good. Exactly. And then there's a problem. We saw what happened to Jocelyn Elders. So
I'm sure there are people on that side. I know a lot of very smart, very kind people on the Hillary side. I get that. Yes. But at the same time, we can't ignore things like this, signals like this. I mean, like today, Brock is taking over Crew. It's stuff like that. We're watching the propaganda wing get built before our eyes. You know, and these are scary times. You know, I get the fact that, you know, the clear and present danger may be Trump. I get that, but if you look closely at what's the machinations and what's going on with Hillary and company, it should concern you. It should really concern you. And it seems like, you know, the fear has I've been going back and forth with some dude on Twitter today. The fear, this guy, I mean, it's just coming off him. I'm like, listen, take a deep breath. All right. Make good decisions, right? Fear and love make you make the stupidest decisions in life. Right. And this fear thing is driving people crazy. It is absolutely crazy out here. I mean, you and I have both been in battles with quote unquote friends about this whole Bernie Hillary thing. And it seems like we're the ones accused of being the venomous ones. But if anybody taking a step back needs to take a good look at what's going on, you know, and this is getting, I don't know. It's like, it's becoming cultish what they accused us of being, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's also like this notion that they have a moral imperative, so they're absolutely right no matter what. And again, like you said, even if the fear of Trump is a valid fear, at the same time, that does not mean that suddenly we excuse all the other bad behavior that's going on just because the other side is bad. Like what are we setting ours? Okay, let's say Trump is bad and we all fall in line and we disregard everything. None of us, we all get silent. What happens on day one, right? Trump is defeated. right? The bad is the evil. Let's just we're just assuming, right? Let's play make believe. Trump is defeated. The bad thing is all gone. It's like kumbaya. We won. We're victorious. Peace on earth. What do we do on day one? Because now we've allowed this monster to exist. We have this other problem, right? We have all this unchecked cronyism, all this unchecked corruption that is just going on in the name of defeating Trump. Then what do we do? Then what do we do?
That's a big question.
We're supposed to just accept it because that's the penance we pay for Trump being elected on the right? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. And, we heard all this, when it was Bernie and Hillary in the race, we heard all this. What are you going to do in the first 100 days? What does your agenda look like? So how do you make the Republicans work with you? All the same questions can be asked of Hillary, but when you ask those questions, you don't get any solid answers, right? I'm just as American as the next guy. I've served, I've done my part. I question. I reserve the right to question any candidate under any circumstances, right? So a candidate with this type of baggage and this type of history, and it doesn't make sense not to question her and keep the pressure on. And everybody just running and lining up doesn't make sense. I mean, we saw today what happened with Lee Fang and The Intercept. The FEC is answering some questions now because The Intercept stayed on folks and kept pushing. This doesn't happen if everybody gets in line. And that to me speaks volumes, and bravo to The Intercept,
Right, definitely. Yeah. Well, I need to, because I can't keep David for too long tonight, but I appreciate you for coming on, as always. I mean, everybody definitely check out Michael Graham on Twitter, check out his latest piece. And then also go check out the rest of our writers over on progressivearmor.com. Again, we have a slew of phenomenal people who are writing, and
Absolutely.
I mean, very well researched, detailed stuff. I mean, we're not quite The Intercept, but we making waves over here. So
we're making waves. We're not
as always great to talk to you.
We ain't like that. All right, sis. You have a good evening, and I hope everybody out there in internet land has a good evening too.
All right, talk to you later. Yeah, so definitely check out, like I said, check out Michael Graham's piece. It was a very good piece. I mean, he has several really great pieces up, and I don't say that just because I consider him my brother, my friend, but I'm pretty proud to stand by everything that goes up on Progressive Army. Our process and the way we do things